Alright guys, TacticalRab here, and today I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to VALORANT News. 4 teams remain at the Lockin tournament in Sao Paulo. What a day yesterday for the European region in general. North America out of the tourney, 100 Thieves destroys. So much reaction to this on the Twitter side of things from the North American teams and players and what they might want to do going forwards, what roster changes might be necessary, and even Simple getting involved with his opinion on 100 Thieves falling short. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. As always, this was where it all started from Ethan on the 18th of February. Tweeted up such a sad feeling watching all the EMEA teams leave the practice rooms, and ever since then it kind of fell apart for the North American region in general. Now, also wanted to mention this from TSM, confirmed yesterday that Hazed is gone from the team. Now, I know that immediately people saw this, wow, they dropped Hazed, crazy stuff. But if you actually listen to the video, Hazed decided himself effectively to leave. He was meshing with the team outside of the game, but in the game, vibes, chemistry, stuff like that, it just wasn't working. And Hazed, despite being on TSM and then not being on TSM, then being on TSM and then leaving and then coming back again, now he's gone again. So you know, remarkable story really of how many times he's come back to TSM and now left. But he said to the team management, like, hey, it's not working, I think you guys should probably replace me for the betterment of the team. And he effectively therefore stepped down. They have made the replacement. Hazed's next step is unclear. I know that he has been talking to other teams apparently, so we'll see what happens there, whether he can join another team in tier 2. But yeah, I imagine that will happen. But there is Rostermania to come even in tier 1, I guess we'll see. But Pecky, briefly of Sentinels last season, is going to be the man to come through. So yeah, obviously this was working out for them as well last night, as we shall see here in a second, against the guard team that has obviously been going through some chaos outside of the game right now. We also still need to know and find out what exactly is going on with Cloud9. Roy says here, we just scrimmed Cloud9 and they were using Dazneth, right? And, you know, he says, let's get to work at the same time. So I imagine this is coordinated and, you know, just a bit of fun, right? Maybe he's joining us content or whatever. But still, what are Cloud9 doing? Did indeed they scrim against other teams last night? Do they still have Ye? Is Ye gone? Have they brought in somebody else to the roster yet? Is Vanity still there? Are they making other changes? Who knows right now? But yeah, more to come on that side, I'm sure. Let's talk though about what went on in Sao Paulo last night, because two series that unfortunately were less interesting than maybe I expected them to be. I thought Leviathan Na'Vi was going to be the better of the two. I was hoping this had a game 3 on it, but man, Na'Vi are just way too good, right? Like these guys are unbelievable. Angel's been playing at a very high level. Obviously, they came over from last year, very similar team. They've got cNed instead of Artist now, but the core of the roster is the same. And I mean, yeah, wow, 1-0 quite quickly on Ascent. And then game 2 was a demolition job here on Fracture. Leviathan are very good, I think, but I mean, they weren't anywhere near the match of Na'Vi in the series. There were so many moments. The Ascent as well, there was a moment where I think it was Sagetsu where he went for that crazy wall bang towards the B site. Like, that was unbelievable. But I mean, it wasn't even close at the end of the day. So Leviathan looked good so far. Obviously, even, what was it, Som said the other day that they were basically the best team they played in practice. But of course, they didn't play Na'Vi NRG because Na'Vi weren't there when they were playing, I imagine, because Na'Vi, by the time they actually arrived out there in Sao Paulo, NRG were basically already playing their matches and had already almost got eliminated from the tournament. Whereas Leviathan, native to South America, were already there practicing against teams from Group Omega. So, you know, pretty incredible, right? That if Som reckons that NRG, when they played Leviathan, that was like the best team they played, and Na'Vi destroyed them like this, I mean, yeah, damn, it's a scary sight for the competition for this entire year. Even Artist said this, give Na'Vi the event, give them Tokyo, and let them have champs as well. We're all out here playing for second place with the level that they played. Of course, Artist was on that team before, and Marvin, I thought, pretty funny comment from him. They're looking way too good following their recent roster change. Of course, replacing Artist because he got poached by the North American region, and I think there was even a tweet surfacing from Angel that he made back in 2020 where he said that, yeah, none of these NA teams are going to get more than 4 rounds against us, and that's if they win both pistols, and the only way they have a chance is if they steal any of my players. And that's basically what they ended up doing, but well, so far hasn't obviously worked out for these guys from the North American side. So dominant performance of Na'Vi. I mean, Shao, I think, was kind of the standout here. 13-10 on Ascent and then 13-2 on Fracture. I mean, their offensive side was absolute demolition, and cNed on the Rays was performing very highly as well. But then we got Fnatic versus 100T. And this game I was hoping was going to be more competitive than it was. I thought maybe a 2-1 for Fnatic, but it's honestly frustrating for Sentinels as well. And this is the thing for Fnatic, right, or for Sentinels. If Fnatic go on to win this tourney, Sen will feel like, how good actually are we? Like, Sentinels could be the second best team in the world right now for all we know, Fnatic are number 1. But, you know, unlikely. But I guess, honestly, their performance, Sentinels against Fnatic, looks somewhat better after this performance. 100 Thieves got around early on, and then they got destroyed for the rest of the half. There was a lot of plays from 100 Thieves that didn't really make too much sense. They weren't really clearing things you'd have expected them to clear individually as well. Like, they were just getting outclassed and outplayed. Durka was coming different, and I mean, yeah, all 5 of them coming here. Durka gets a 3k, and that just put the, put the nail in the coffin, really, of 100 Thieves. Fnatic tweet this out, 1 Thieves. There's a meme in the Call of Duty scene, actually, for some time, because in hardpoint in Call of Duty, it's first to 250 points. There was a map that the Thieves team played in Call of Duty a couple of years ago where they got 14 points. Their opponent got 250, so 14 Thieves was going around as a meme for some time, and now we've got 1 Thieves here in Valorant because 1 round, thankfully they didn't get 0, because that would have been embarrassing and might have forced a roster change on the spot. But 13-1 was just tragic. I mean, that was Fracture game 1 was 13-1, and then it almost looked like it was going to be a 13-1 again on Icebox game 2, but they did make a bit of a comeback here. So in fairness to 100 Thieves, they did feign a bit of a comeback and try and make something happen. But yeah, Fnatic just have too much firepower and too much consistency, and in the end, it wasn't enough for 100 Thieves. They lost this 4v5 as well to close out the game, and yeah, that was it, right? 3v4 at this point, but they couldn't quite get the retake in time. Leo took them down. The plant comes through just in time, and that's GG. 100 Thieves out of the tourney, Fnatic through. And I've just got to share this clip from the first map, Fracture, which was 13-1, where there was a bit of a roast of 100 Thieves going on from none other than Simple joining the call and giving his thoughts on this roster.
Of course, I cheer.
No, I'm cheering for you as well. Let's go, guys.
Let's go.
100 Thieves sucks in this game. Fucking go. Oh, sorry, it's Tarek?
Oh, sorry.
The strat, they're pushing out everything. Bang's on the island, bro.
Oh my god.
Hey, you work right here with that stinger. Don't tell me he gets a second one. Olaf, good to see you, baby.
Oh my god.
Bro, what is happening?
So Sentinels understandably a bit frustrated here, right? Who at Riot made us play these guys first? We just want to talk, right? Because, I mean, yeah, the way this schedule worked out for Sentinels was deeply unfortunate, and indeed, Amiya's best did turn up there in Group Omega as expected, and, well, they both made it through, as we shall see here in a second. Even as Marv says, devastated NA is knocked out. Of course, Marv wasn't on any of these teams, neither was Zoms, but I thought it was pretty entertaining, actually, Zoms' reply here. Me, yay, Marv, Sinatraa, plus who to save NA. So, yeah, maybe necessary, right? But imagine that, right? Reforming some of the old OpTic team, reforming some of the old Sentinels team. So, I mean, yeah, I just thought this was pretty funny. And even as Zoms replies to dapr here, we gotta save NA. So maybe bringing back the old Sentinels team is necessary. Of course, Seth Fowler replies with a pretty funny moment here with the, the Fort Minor, right? Remember the name meme that they do in FPS esports for Zoms' highlights up against G2 a while ago. Zoms like, seeding a match doesn't really matter. But yeah, 2-0 for Fnatic, dominant performance from them. Kind of expected in a way, given the way that 100 Thieves had played up against, they'd struggled through some weaker opposition, and when they played a real good team, they were probably going to get destroyed, but still, the manner of the demolition was pretty unexpected, even for me, I thought, the way they lost 13-1, and it could have been even, I mean, they got 1 round finally at the end of that first half, and then they did make a bit of a comeback, but wasn't enough after losing 10-2 at the half. You're probably not going to win. And it does raise questions about how good North America can be and how good 100 Thieves are, because 100 Thieves were meant to be, I thought, like North America's best hope, really, this tournament. They were probably the strongest team going in based on their performance the last couple of months. They've had all this time to practice and to prepare. Maybe they just weren't quite as well prepared for like potential meta changes and duelist and, kind of using what a lot of the European teams are currently doing and being up to date on that stuff. So yeah, I guess we'll see. But given the fact that 100 Thieves are meant to be like maybe the best North American team, to get blown out like that is not a good sign for the entire region. And America's last hope now is effectively coming down to Loud and Sadak and the guys over there. Now, we've also got to talk about, though, what was going on in Tier 2 yesterday, because it started up again with that TSM change we saw. They played the Guard last night, but also Moist Esports, or Moist Mogul, or whatever exactly they're calling it. The Moist Moguls, I think is what it is. So you've got Ludwig and Charlie, right? They've put up $250,000 each, because I think that's kind of what they say it costs, really, to run a Challengers team for a year. So they've put that money up between them, and, obviously they're hoping that it works out for them, and they can get sponsors, and they can do the watch party, so it kind of, helps pay for itself in a way. It's an interesting model to make an esports team work that, actually can generate revenue compared to some other models that a lot of organizations have. And Zekken's like, Sim, no help, because he was trying his best here, but it wasn't to be. And actually, Breakthrough, or now known as Moist Moguls, went down in this series to Turtle Troop. This is actually a big loss for them, in fairness, because they need to get top 4 in their group, a group that is probably more achievable than Group B on paper where they are. But yeah, so losing to Turtle Troop yesterday was a big deal, especially getting 2-0'd by them, because if they'd have won that, they'd have been 2-1 and sitting in a decent spot there. However, losing to Turtle Troop was a bad defeat and not an ideal result given, you know, they were getting ecoed and there were some bad rounds they played, to be honest, given the very first time that they played with this roster. So, you know, it's not exactly optimal for them. And I'm hoping that we can at some point get Disguised versus Moist Moguls. That'd be very entertaining, but it might not well happen at this point. But anyway, these are the matches. So there was a 2-0 for Turtle Troop yesterday, and there was also a 2-0 for TSM over the Guard. This is quite remarkable given how good the Guard have been. And, okay, don't get me wrong, TSM played great, and their roster change seems to be paying off for them. But I do think that in part, this is going to be down to all the drama behind the scenes, right? With the Guard right now, the fact that their organization is collapsing, everyone's getting laid off, there's no staff anymore for social media and all this, and they basically just released everyone from the organization, and the Guard know that their players' salaries aren't maybe the same, and the Guard know there isn't the security, they know that things aren't quite being maintained as they were before, they know the progress isn't necessarily there, that it might well take a toll on their in-game performances as well. But let's talk back to Sao Paulo. These are the only 4 teams remaining here, so these are the way it goes, and indeed, they do just play straight through the groups. So the semi-finals is between the 2 teams that made it out of Group A and Group Omega respectively. So Loud DRX and then Na'Vi Fnatic are in 2 absolute banger series here on March the 2nd and March the 3rd. So a couple of days away now from a big weekend to determine the champion of the first event of the entire season. But very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.